Everyone, welcome back to Podcast and Chill on the Learn English podcast channel. I'm Leo, your cheerful host who's always here to brighten your day.
And I'm Gwen here to keep us all on track and make sure we're learning something valuable. So, Leo, what's on your mind today?
Well, Gwen, I recently watched this amazing video about a girl who lost a lot of weight in just 6 months.
6 months? That's impressive.
I know, right? She said that staying disciplined and never giving up were the keys to her success.
Discipline, huh? That's something we could all use a little more of.
Exactly. I was really surprised by how much discipline can change someone's life.
It's true, Leo. Discipline is like the backbone of success. Without it, achieving goals becomes much harder.
That's why today we're talking about the power of discipline. But before we dive into that, don't forget to check out the free PDF in the description below.
Make sure to go to File, make a copy so you can edit it and take notes.
So, Gwen, let's talk about what happens when we don't have discipline.
That's a good point, Leo. When we lack discipline, it's easy to lose focus and get distracted.
Yeah, like that time I tried to start a workout routine. I was excited at first, but after a few days, I kept finding excuses to skip.
That's something a lot of people can relate to. It's hard to keep going when the excitement from the beginning starts to fade.
And because I didn't stick with it, I didn't see any results. That was really frustrating.
It's true. Without discipline, we often find ourselves stuck in the same place. We want to move forward, but we keep going in circles.
So, what is discipline anyway?
Discipline is the ability to control your actions and stay focused on your goals, even when it's hard.
That makes sense. It's like having a guide to keep us on the right path.
Yes, and it's not just about reaching goals. Discipline helps build good habits that make life easier and more organized.
Like waking up early or eating healthy every day?
Exactly. These small habits add up over time and lead to big changes.
But why is discipline so important?
Discipline is important because it helps us stay on track and not give up when things get tough.
That reminds me of a study I read about. Researchers found that people who are disciplined are more likely to succeed in life.
Yes, there's a famous study from Stanford University called the marshmallow test.
Oh, I've heard about that. They gave kids a choice to eat one marshmallow now or wait and get two later.
Exactly. The kids who waited ended up being more successful later in life because they learned to be disciplined.
That's really interesting, Gwen. It shows that discipline isn't just about the present. It shapes our future too.
It really does, Leo. Discipline is the foundation for achieving our goals and living a fulfilling life.
So, how can we become more disciplined?
It starts with small steps. For example, you could set a goal to read for 10 minutes every day. Another small step could be to drink a glass of water right after waking up. Or if you want to get more exercise, you could start by taking a 5-minute walk during your lunch break. Even making your bed every morning is a simple way to build discipline. These small actions might seem easy, but when you do them every day, they help you build the habit of discipline. And once those habits are in place, it becomes easier to take on bigger challenges.
All right, now that we've talked about discipline, let's go over some key vocabulary from today's conversation.
The first word is discipline. Discipline means controlling your behavior and staying focused on your goals. For example, having discipline helped her finish her project on time.
The second word is habit. A habit is something you do regularly, often without thinking. For example, brushing your teeth every morning is a good habit.
The third word is goal. A goal is something you want to achieve in the future. For example, her goal is to learn English fluently.
The fourth word is focus. Focus means paying attention to something and not getting distracted. For example, it's important to focus on your studies to do well in school. Now, let's think about some questions related to what we've discussed today.
Sure, Leo. Let me start with the first question. What is one small habit you can start today to build more discipline?
That's a great question, Gwen. For example, you could start by making your bed every morning or setting aside 10 minutes to read.
Right, Leo. It doesn't have to be something big, even small steps count.
Exactly. And here's another question. How do you stay focused when you're working on something important?
That's a tough one, Leo. Maybe you avoid distractions like your phone or create a quiet space to work.
Good point, Gwen. I find that setting a specific time for focused work helps too.
Definitely Leo. It's all about finding what works best for you and sticking with it.
So, to our listeners, think about these questions and how you can apply them to your own life.
And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below.
All right, Gwen, let's talk about some practical ways we can all become more disciplined.
That's a great idea, Leo. Discipline is something we can build, and it starts with overcoming challenges.
Yeah, it's easy to stay on track when everything is going well, but what about when things get tough?
That's where discipline really shows its power. It helps us push through tough times.
Do you have any stories that illustrate this, Gwen?
Actually, I do. I know someone who struggled with studying for a big exam. He felt like giving up many times, especially when he was tired or didn't understand the material. But instead of giving in, he made a plan. He broke down his study material into smaller, more manageable sections. Then, he set a specific time every day to study, even if it was just 30 minutes. To keep himself motivated, he would check off each section as he completed it. And he also rewarded himself with small breaks or treats after finishing a section. Whenever he faced a tough topic, he reminded himself of his goal to pass the exam and achieve his dream. By sticking to this routine and keeping his goal in mind, he was able to stay disciplined. And in the end, his discipline paid off. He passed the exam with flying colors.
That's a great example, Gwen. It shows how important it is to keep going, even when it's tough.
Exactly. And to build discipline, it's best to start small.
Like we mentioned earlier, you can begin with small, manageable tasks.
Right. For example, setting a goal to read for just 10 minutes every day.
That's something anyone can do, and over time, it becomes a habit.
And once you've built that habit, you can create a routine around it. Like setting a specific time each day for studying or exercising.
Yes, having a routine helps make discipline a part of your daily life.
But it's also important to stay motivated along the way.
How do you do that, Gwen?
Setting clear, achievable goals is key. And don't forget to reward yourself when you reach a milestone.
That's a good tip. Rewards can keep you excited and on track.
Exactly. And if you ever slip up, don't be too hard on yourself. We all make mistakes, and what's important is to learn from them and get back on track.
That's right, Gwen. Discipline is about loving yourself enough to do what's best for you, even when it's hard.
But it's also about knowing when to take a break. Some people think that being disciplined means pushing themselves to the limit all the time. They believe that they have to work nonstop or stick to their routine no matter what. But the truth is, this can lead to burnout. I've seen people who push themselves too hard, studying or working for hours without breaks. At first, they felt productive, but over time, they became exhausted, both physically and mentally. They started losing motivation and even felt anxious or stressed. That's why it's important to recognize when your body and mind need rest. Taking breaks isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a way to recharge and come back stronger. For example, if you've been studying or working for a long stretch, it's okay to step away for a bit. Go for a walk, listen to some music, or just relax. When you come back, you'll be more focused and ready to tackle your tasks with a clear mind. Leo, have you ever felt like you were pushing yourself too hard?
Actually, yes. There were times when I tried to work nonstop because I thought it was the only way to succeed, but I ended up feeling drained and couldn't keep going. That's when I realized the importance of balancing discipline with self-care.
Exactly. It's all about progress, not perfection. So remember, listeners, discipline is key, but so is knowing when to take a step back and recharge.
All right, now that we've talked about some helpful ways to stay disciplined, let's go over some key vocabulary from today's conversation.
The first word is burnout. Burnout means feeling very tired and unable to keep working because you've been doing too much for too long. For example, she felt burnout after working on the project day and night.
The second word is routine. A routine is a regular way of doing things, like a daily schedule. For example, his morning routine includes exercise, breakfast, and reading.
The third word is balance. Balance means making sure you don't focus too much on one thing at the expense of others. For example, it's important to have a balance between work and rest.
The fourth word is self-care. Self-care means taking care of your physical and mental health. For example, taking a break when you're tired is an important part of self-care.
The fifth word is motivation. Motivation is the reason why you keep doing something, even when it's hard. For example, her motivation to learn English comes from her dream to travel abroad.
Now, let's think about some questions related to what we've discussed today.
First question, how do you know when you're pushing yourself too hard? For example, do you start feeling exhausted, lose focus, or feel less motivated?
That's a really important question, Gwen. I think for me, it's when I start losing interest in things I normally enjoy.
That's a good point, Leo. For me, it's when I feel like even small tasks become overwhelming.
Yeah, I've been there too. It's like everything suddenly feels too much, and you don't know where to start.
Exactly. That's when I know I need to take a step back and assess what's going on.
So, what do you do when you realize you're pushing yourself too hard?
I try to prioritize what's most important and let go of what can wait. And I make sure to schedule in some time to relax, even if it's just a short break.
That's smart. For me, I find it helps to talk to someone about how I'm feeling.
Yeah, talking it out can really put things into perspective.
And sometimes just hearing yourself say the words out loud makes you realize how much you've been pushing.
Absolutely. It's like giving yourself permission to slow down.
I think it's important to remember that discipline doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It's about making steady progress, and part of that is knowing when to rest. We hope you found today's discussion on discipline helpful.
Remember, discipline is about finding a balance that works for you, staying focused, but also knowing when to take a break.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic.
What's one thing you learned about discipline today that you want to start practicing? And how do you plan to create more balance in your life?
Please share your ideas in the comments below. We're excited to read them.
And don't forget to check out the free PDF with all the key points and vocabulary from today's episode. You can find the link in the description or in the comments section.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Podcast and Chill. We'll be back next time with more tips and discussions to help you on your English learning journey.
Until then, keep practicing, stay disciplined, and take care.
Goodbye, everyone.